Hey, it's Ian, your Play Neighborhood Author. That's my cat. Um, and I have reactions to the Danish deception discourse. Before I start, let me give you my credentials. First, I'm a lifelong dark-skinned Black woman who has grown up in a majority Black environment in Prince George County, Maryland, and also attended school at college at PWI, where I said The Bennett Woman, my novel, which is a love story centering a Black woman. So if you want a love story with a dark-skinned Black woman and a millionaire, um, and see where that goes, it is currently a Kindle deal. I am also a big fan of romance reality TV and actually was familiar with Onyeka from her series, her stints on Bachelor and Bachelor in Paradise. So those are my credentials. Now I shall continue. I have not watched Dance Deception because I don't care to, um, but I have found the discourse around it interesting, particularly as a lifelong dark skinned Black woman. And I have thoughts. So I'm going to discourse on the discourse because that's what this app is for. Anyway, so my first thought is you'll be happier. I'll be happier. We'll all be happier as Black people if we let each other be more embarrassing. Okay, I think I've seen a lot of think pieces, a lot of advice for Onyeka. I want everyone who's giving that advice to pause and ask, are you giving this advice to help her be better? Or are you giving this advice because you found what she did and how she did so embarrassing that you needed to stop? If that's the latter, and I think it is, because let's be real, Tiger Woods was embarrassing until he was successful. Tina Turner, embarrassing until she was successful. Even Whitney Houston, a little bit embarrassing until she was successful, and then embarrassing again, sadly, at the end of her life. We don't know what to do when a Black person is behaving in a way that we find embarrassing. I say that as a nerdy Black person who people did not know what to do with because they found me pretty uncool. And we say a lot, we are not a monolith. But when someone's behavior goes outside the norms in ways that we find distressing, we tend to cut them out of the circle of care. And I think that Onyeka is being cut out of the circle of care about how much grace she's being given and how much responsibility people are asking her to take for being scammed because we find the scam so embarrassing. I want my fellow Black people to sit with that. And then I'm going to hop on to a second part about how people think they know they have colorism, but they have no idea. So it's going to be part two. Hey, it's still Ian, your neighborhood author. This is ninth grade, and who I wrote my novel, The Bennett Woman, for. This is my cat. And while I'm here, I'm just telling you, The Bennett Woman is currently a Kindle deal. And if you want to see a dark skinned woman and a more reputable, uh, wealthy love interest, it's a great novel to pick up. Now, back to the colors. As you saw from that picture of me in eighth grade, or of ninth grade, I am a lifelong dark skinned Black woman. And I want to talk about how the colorism of it all fits into Onyeka's experience in particular. Because I've seen a lot of folks saying that if only Onyeka had been able to be raised in a majority Black environment, she wouldn't have the issues that she does have, her colonized mindset, and she would have been able to um, see the sky coming. Well, Onyeka is not just a Black woman, she's a dark skinned Black woman, which means that things are just harder, my friends. And the darker you are, the more everything else has to line up perfectly. Because we've seen our goddesses struggle. We've seen Lupita struggle, who is dark skinned and beautiful and talented. We've seen Jodie Turner struggle, dark skinned and beautiful and talented. I don't know if Michaela Cole is struggling. Um, but, we've seen Olandria struggle on our televisions, who is, dark skinned goddess. The body type is the current beauty body type, and she struggled on television. And because the darker skinned you are, the more that takes away from you being a prize. And a lot of men, whatever their personal preferences are, want to date a prize. Me personally, I was dark and churchy and a little nerdy. More embracing my nerdiness now that I did then. And was not growing up in majority black PG County. Boys were tracking for me. Now, I think the term that I would have used for myself then was girl pretty. I knew from my friends, I knew from my mom, I knew internally that I was pretty, but I also knew that my complexion was keeping me from being regarded as pretty. And even though my blackness wasn't. And I actually got more attention from non-black folks than I did from black folks. But I did not think, oh no, it's all black men. I just thought I had to find the nerdy black man who also wants to date me. Wasn't at my high school. And, you know, if I had found him, that went great. But for Onyeka, her needing to be chosen was not just a personal desire, but a livelihood thing. She was a public figure from a romantic TV show. She was on The Bachelor and Bachelor in Paradise. And while she was kind of went for Colton, the biggest play I ever saw her make was for Mike Johnson, who was a very handsome black man who passed her over for a white passing woman named Caitlin. To the point that people asked Mike Johnson, who people were hoping to be the first black bachelor, if he dated a black woman. And he said, of course I do. And, you know, we saw that he learned later that he did date a black Miss USA who sadly passed. But I've never seen him date publicly anyone Onyeka's complexion. And Onyeka is a pretty black girl, pretty dark-skinned girl, but she's not goddess beautiful. And I think in that world of professional dating, I'm going to call that dating reality TV, I think that dark-skinned women have to be goddesses to be regarded. And I think also that she's not getting the sympathy that she would have gotten if she was 2 shades lighter, or if she had been dating someone who was not white, because I think that people would have accepted a dark-skinned goddess getting played to this level because they thought that she might deserve a rich Olympian. But I think that Onyeka being a pleasant-looking, dark-skinned black girl, people would never think that she was pretty enough for Olympian in the first place. And that's honestly people's biggest problem, is that she thought she deserved this man, whatever version you want. I think they kind of think that she deserved what she got for that more than the obvious red flags. I think colorism has a large role to play in a lot of people's perceptions of this, and I think that's something that people don't want to admit. It was a pleasure to burn. Hi, it's Ian, your friendly neighborhood author, and take a moment to enjoy this fire pit with me while I talk about part 3 of my discussing the discourse of Danish deception. My credentials: I am a lifelong dark-skinned black woman. I am the author of The BENNET Woman and Her Own Happiness, love story centering black women. And I am a fan of romance reality TV shows, including The Bachelor and Bachelor in Paradise, where I first saw Onyeka before. So I was familiar with her before all of this. So this wonderful lady is an author, a cardiologist, and has the best take I've seen on the Danish deception, because she's gone through something similar in her own life, only it led to different kinds of abuse. And her empathy is sadly radical in this situation. I encourage you all to go watch her videos on Danish deception and come back if you want. I will add that her need to feel chosen might be your need to be educated. And some people say grad school is a scam. Some people say student loans are a scam. Some people say capitalism is a scam. Okay? There are scams that that many people fall for, and we treat them with compassion. The same way that we saw that the lack of compassion for crack epidemic made it worse, but there's compassion for the opioid epidemic because of who it was happening to and how. I don't want us to treat dark-skinned women being scammed with the same sort of smugness and meanness that people treat crack addiction versus the compassion that opioid victims found. A scam is a scam. People are wrong for scamming. All I'm going to add is that her take is my favorite because it focuses on the wrongs of the man. It is wrong to scam. It is wrong to steal, even if someone makes a good mark. It is wrong to take advantage of someone's trust. Many people have said, a little too late, after doing a lot of work looking at Onyeka's culpability, that the man was wrong for doing what he did. I think we should lead with that. I think we should stick with that, because in removing the stigma around being scammed, we help reveal how these things work. I think we can do it for Risa Tisa. We can do it for Janae. PPG rallied around her, rightfully called Kenny a clout demon, and we all got the results that we wanted. And you don't have to, follow Onyeka, get her a movie deal, but compassion and reducing stigma are best practices here.